Joyce Monday, welcome to hashtag No Filters number 33 with me, Cheryl Norris Hopkins, 8th of March 2021. And you can say no. Thanks for joining me if you've been here before, and if it's your first time, really appreciate you coming along and seeing what this is all about. Basically, it's about sharing some insights, some possibilities for you to have much more freedom in your life and a lot more ease, no matter what's going on in the world right now or in the future. And of course, as always, disclaimer, what I say is not the truth. It's just a possibility, and see what triggers for you, right? What uplifts you or what makes you go, not certain. But it's about enabling you to have more freedom for you and those around you, okay? Because that's what creates your life. So you can say no. What on earth do I mean by that? Well, of course, there's the literal saying no to something, and the choices we make in our day-to-day lives. So choosing for ourselves in a way that feels authentic for us, because that's what's creating your life day to day, no matter what is going on in the world. And right now, we're going to get pushed more and more and more and more as the world seems to tighten and squeeze around us and attempt to constrain and control. And it is going to continue, guys. I know a lot of you think, oh, we're going to chill out for a while. It's going to get back to normal or something like that. I'm in the UK, and it's going to look like it's giving you some breathing space, but actually what's going to happen is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. The amount of control that appears to be occurring on the outside. And yet on the inside is the possibility for you to have more freedom, right? For you to say no. So let's just give some examples and see where it triggers for you. So I'll give you a really literal example. Last week, I had one of the agencies that represents me for acting modeling say, hey, great, we're going to book you for this job, and can we send out a COVID test for you, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'd had an inquiry for this job maybe 10 days prior, but then it had all gone quiet. So I hadn't heard anything about fees, how it was going to be used, who the brand even was. And here they were wanting to sort of test me, which I have an opinion about. And I've said no to many jobs on that basis. But I was basically being told I'd been booked without any of the information. And it would have been very easy, right, to not upset anybody, to be a good little girl, whatever, a professional model, and just say, yeah, I'll just take the job and not stir the pot in any way. But that wasn't working for me, because fundamentally, I have a right to choose what I'd like to do in terms of work, who I'd like to represent, what brand I'd like to be associated with. And so I picked up the call and I kind of said, did I miss something here? So I made an inquiry to see if there was space and misunderstanding. And then, having established that there wasn't, I kind of said, no, this doesn't work for me. And the no was on multiple levels. I'd looked at the brand, because the brand had actually been put in the message I received then. And it was the first time I was hearing about it. So I looked at the brand, they had terrible customer service. So on that basis, I was like, not going to be associated with that. That doesn't sit well with who I am, and with the way that the client is currently operating. If they're operating like this now, what are they going to be like once we've done the work, and possibly payment and so on. So it's like a very clear no. So, question, guys, where in your world, let's say of work, it could be, is there a strong, or at least a sense that you want to say no to something, but you've been avoiding saying no, or thinking you shouldn't rock the boat, or what might happen if you do say no? Just see what comes up. And maybe nothing. That's my first invitation. Start to see where you want to say no, or you've been avoiding saying no, right? Particularly in your work. I'll give you another example, something completely different. So last week was a funeral of somebody that's very close to me, and in creating that, in terms of the funeral itself, or the service, should I say, my family and I were very clear that we didn't want it done in a conventional way. I said I'd be happy to organize it, to create the service, to basically create the program and the content, and for us to basically, for it to be an incredibly personal experience, which it was. It was obviously bizarrely not where people really wanted to be, and it was so beautiful. I don't think I'll ever go to a funeral like it, which probably sounds a little strange, but on terms that level of personal, where it really did encapsulate and honor this person's kindness and caring and the beauty that they be in the world, you know, based on who spoke, and a number of family members spoke, and you know the music we selected, etc., etc. And so there we were saying no, and me very specifically because I said I would take on the responsibility of outlining it all and basically celebrating, you know, leading the service, you know, very much saying no to what's conventional and what people would expect. And even down to what I chose to wear. I chose to wear what felt really in line with who the person was, and that, you know, a lot of people were dark colors. I had a dark overcoat, but I had this beautiful cerise pink skirt and this vibrant white shirt blouse. And for me, the white was like just the uplifting, connecting with the soul, the purity of who they are. And the cerise pink was very much about the joy and the love and the heart that I felt, right? They're like this, the love, right? And so that's what I wanted to wear. And again, that's not convention. So I was saying no to conforming, not for rebelling, but from a space of I wanted to express myself in a way that I felt honored the person and my relation to them. So we can say no in terms of not censoring ourselves and saying yes to what we truly desire. So again, guys, where you fitting into expectation and conforming and saying no to what you would truly desire, what you truly feel, or have a sense is bubbling, just not to rock the boat for somebody else or to sit in with what society says. Because the more you do that, and particularly in the moment as the world continues to push and stress, and it's almost like it's stress testing us to see what we will say no to, how far we will allow things to go. Until we say, enough, no. And the world is made up of everybody on the planet, guys. So it's for us as individuals to say, that's the line in every aspect of our lives. Because when we do that, not only do we feel fulfilled and a sense of trust in ourselves and trust in the world around us, then the way we behave as a collective completely transforms. And it will change the way the world is currently going. It's going to change anyway, but a lot of people might have a really rough ride and not make it, right? They might not make it. So the more they say yes to something they don't believe in or don't agree with, the more uncomfortable it'll be. And the more they say, push themselves down, say no to their true essence, and no to considering other possibilities, again, that road's not looking too cool. Let's just say that. And as always, I'll put some links in the description to some of the other videos I've done, which will speak to that more. And we could go down a whole rabbit hole about what I see coming. The best preparation is saying yes to being you, expressing it how you have to express that. So what actions can you take today, guys, or in your life going forward that express you more? And it has nothing to do with pushing somebody else down, making somebody else wrong. It's you no longer censoring you, right? So you can say no to censoring yourself. More. And you can have a lot more ease with this roller coaster we're all on, okay? And what's being presented to us as the possibility, as the truth. So that's another example. Anyway, the personal example of the funeral. Another no or yes to what I believe in is I'm getting really, really aware of where I'm doing harm through choices of what I have in my life and in my shopping basket, in my larder, that kind of thing, which I've talked about in a recent video as well, in the decluttering one. And so I've become really aware that the fasting journey I'd been on, it required a couple of cartons of juice a day. And in a year, I was, putting out 700 cartons of juice into technically recycling, but fundamentally putting that onto the planet, right? 600 to 700 cartons of juice a year. And I've become aware that that's not what I want to be doing anymore. So I'm having to give up a part of my lifestyle, that part of my lifestyle, and find different ways that not only support my body, but also support the planet, society, and what I believe in going forward. So I've gone to grocery stores and I've picked up stuff that isn't wrapped in plastic, particularly like the Mediterranean markets or supermarkets and stores. You can pick up loads of fruit and veg that isn't covered in plastic. And now I have a different routine in the morning. So I've said no to bits of my lifestyle that aren't working. So where in your life can you, and are you aware that you need to say no to certain things that you're doing? Because it just doesn't resonate anymore. And it isn't what you really want to be doing. Another example, and I'm saying this from a perspective of observing society as opposed to a personal experience. But I know kids are back to school today, and I know there's a whole push on wearing masks and testing. As you may or may not know, it's completely voluntary on so many levels for so many of us. But there's been a push to imply that it's compulsory. You choose, and remember you're choosing for your young people as well. Some of you might be feeling that you don't want to do that. You don't want to put your young people, your children through that process. Guys, but then you have to speak up, aren't you? Whether it's through action, through verbal, whether it's taking them out of school, whether it's sending them to school without the coverings, And it's not about forcing an issue. It's about if it doesn't work for you, if you don't believe in it, and you know that it isn't law, then you can say no. I just want to throw one in there because I know there's a lot of parents that are starting to churn over this whole thing. And I can see where it's going to lead if we don't speak our truth. And there are head teachers already saying they won't enforce it. Okay, so you have choice. Your child has choice. And another sharing I want to just go to, and I think this is going to be a really quick 15, 20 minutes, guys, which is where I tend to be going with these now. So, hey, hopefully it's a lot easier for you to kind of pick something out from what you view on this video, whether it's live or later, and then get on with your day and just see how that bubbles and where it opens a little bit of a doorway for you. And so the last no I want to share as an example is, again, it's a non-censoring thing, because I guess that's so much about what's being done on the planet and how much we've been conditioned is to censor ourselves and stop ourselves. And so a couple of examples. One's with somebody that I know who's looking to buy a property, and I came across something the other day and I thought, hey, I know a lot about what they're looking to do as a potential option. I could help. So I just messaged them and say, hey, if you want some assistance, I'd be really happy to help you. That example there was about me not censoring an idea, because it would be so much easier for me to go, oh no, they know what they're doing, or oh, it's going to be too much hassle, or I shouldn't get involved, or blah, 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 blah. Story, story, story. But again, I was like, no, it feels like it's like an enthusiasm. I have an enthusiasm for assisting here. I have an enthusiasm for most people's joy. If I see them in their joy, they're wanting to create something, I'm very happy to contribute. That's part of what I love. So I didn't censor myself there. And today when I saw something online, a property, not so much about being the property specifically, but just to give possibilities and idea, like it bubbled when I saw it. And I thought, this person, I sent a link to them. So again, I didn't censor myself and then go, ooh. Although there was that moment like, ooh, should I send it? Maybe I'm getting, too involved, or maybe I'll get it wrong. And it was like, no, 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 no. Stop that. That voice, that training of I shouldn't, or maybe I'll get it wrong, or maybe they'll think they'll have an opinion of me, they'll judge me. So again, where in your world can you say no to that voice that says, oh, I shouldn't, when the initial response was like, oh, I don't want to. So guys, just a very quick one, under 15 minutes. You can say no, literally, to things. You can say no to squashing you down. You can say no to others pushing their expectations of you onto you. You can start to say yes to more of what you want to be and who you want to be, in a way that being a path to more and more of your freedom. And it's going to be really, really powerful for you if you can do that going forward for this next month, the years, this decade. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Peace to you guys. See you next time. Thanks for joining.